Hey, this is Alexa Peterson with the Hitting Vault. I'm doing a swing analysis on Juan Soto. He's been doing really well for them, especially this spring training season, hitting .368 with 3 home runs and just 38 at-bats. And then last year he did well for them as a rookie. So we're going to take a look at his swing here. This is a little bit after his starting stance. He's picked up his front foot already. Kind of loaded. Getting a little bit more into his hip and ready to start going forward into his launch position. So he goes forward, and you see he's continued to maintain this front shoulder down, back shoulder up. As he goes forward, he gets to his launch position, and right when that heel hits, right there, we actually still see slightly front shoulder down, back shoulder up. He's definitely on the more flatter side. In terms of shoulder angle, most hitters are a little bit steeper with that front shoulder down than he is, but this is something that has been he's been successful with this so far. Something that's a little bit different as well from most elite hitters that we see that hit for average and power is that we see a little bit more knob to the catcher, but he's actually having his barrel a little bit more straighter towards kind of like in between home plate and the catcher. But for some reason, there's sometimes things that are a little bit different from what the majority of hitters do, but they end up working for a hitter. And so this is something that that I've seen, works well for him, and not something that he should really look to change if it's the difference between this angle and this angle. Might not be worth trying to improve that. The reason why most hitters have their knob going towards the catcher is because it typically does create more power in their swing, because their hands are a little bit farther back with their hips open a little bit in that launch position, and essentially stretching this out. But his body sequence, how he goes towards the ball, is so good that I really don't think that this little bit of a difference there is preventing him much from being able to hit the ball for power. So something else we see in his launch position, he's pretty well centered here. He has a little bit of bend in his front knee. And his distance between his feet is about half of his height, give or take a little bit there. So great launch position. Starts to go towards the ball there. This is an outside pitch, so you know. He's rotating his hips really well. His hips are turning, but his hands are just a little bit behind, and that's the point that's so important with young hitters, is trying to engage those hips and that core to turn without their backside collapsing down and their hands just being thrown towards the ball early. We want those hips to rotate really well, and we see that barrel starting to work back behind him. His hips are almost at the pitcher completely, and his barrel is still back here, and then he releases his barrel towards the pitch. This is right at his belt, and so you see his front elbow working a little bit higher up in the zone, higher up, working up this way. This back elbow is working down as his hips are turning hard. Gets closer to contact. He firms up that front side. Back foot is like an L. He's almost weightless with that back toe right at contact. He's not squishing the bug. He's got some shoulder tilt there, some torso tilt. He's a great position, palm up, palm down, with his hands there, right at contact. Good extension through, all the way around. So here's a great angle, and one of the reasons why I wanted to use this video is that it shows exactly his bat path, like a close-up view of how he hits this pitch that's working to the outside corner of the plate. What the difference that you would see from an inside pitch and an outside pitch predominantly is where this elbow is. So along with a little bit more tilt as well, you'll tend to see a little bit more tilt on lower pitches. So say this pitch was a little bit lower down towards his knee, you'd see much more tilt trying to get down there. But on this pitch, he has a decent amount of tilt. And then this angle, or this distance from his elbow to basically his stomach area is further out. So if this pitch was more of an inside pitch here, you'd see a tighter turn with this elbow being closer to his belly button, essentially, as he's turning. and probably more bend in this front elbow as well. But instead, because it's an outside pitch and he stays on plane really well, you see this a greater distance right here from his belt buckle to his elbow right there. And you see him a little bit more extended with this top hand elbow. You can really see as he's turning, his hips are turning hard. That barrel is working behind him. See it back there? He's not pushing his hands straight towards, knob towards the ball, sliding it across his chest. That barrel is working behind him as his hips are turning this way, and then his barrel can come through the zone a lot quicker. You can kind of see that barrel working behind him as his hips are turning. Really great sweet sequence on this pitch. Belt buckle at the pitcher. Hits the bottom half of the ball. You can see if he were to hit right on top right here, that ball would have gone straight down to the ground. If he were to hit way up underneath that side of the ball, then it would have been a pop-up. But he was able to hit the bottom half of that ball, which is what we want to try to be shooting for. Sent through the ball and ended up going over left field fence. So I think he's a young player with a lot of potential to be so young. I think he's only 20 years old and having great mechanics, being able to adjust to different pitches and different speeds. So I look forward to seeing him develop as a player over the next couple of years.